Right, so let's talk about the end of the IndyCar season. Let's talk about the finale, the Borchetta Bourbon Music City Grand Prix, the Nashville Superspeedway race. And I do like Nashville as a venue. I like it in NASCAR. It has something unique to it as well, and that's to do with the surfacing of it, right? It just ends up being really cool to see something that is that mile and a half, seen more kind of a cookie cutter style, but it's on concrete. It's not tarmac, it's concrete. And it produces different profiles in the racing. And it's why even within the NASCAR schedule, it's a bit of a unique beast as well. I mean, you can see it a little bit when you look at the top three in qualifying in O'Ward, Malukas, and Lundgaard. I mean, yes, the Chip Ganassis are right behind them. But, heck, I mean, Ilott gets a top 10 in qualifying in there. When you look further towards the end of the field, you see drivers who you'd expect to be performing well on the ovals, who are much further down the order. But the race was fascinating to follow in its own extent as well. Alex Palou still managed to recover to second. And I say recover because he had that puncher. And the puncher, despite getting the puncher, the race stayed green because he was like, okay, my tyre's down, I'm hitting pit road. And just so happened it lined up with roughly around where pit windows were going to be. So he leads 11 laps on the day. He still finishes second. He's, half a second off the win. Any of the top three really deserve to win it. Newgarden ends up picking up the win, which is good for him. When was the last time they actually won before that season finale? I mean, I remember the Fox ads for him at the start of the season. It was Gateway last year, so he went nearly a full season. Well, he did go over a season in terms of number of races, but it would have been a winless season for the first time since 2014. Jeez, it just tells you how impressive he has been and how he's consistently been towards the pointy end of the field. But yeah, Scotty Mack ends up with the third place, and that's been good for him as well. It's been the end of a tough season. Kiffin Simpson ends up in the top 5. Connor Daly ends up in the top 5, leads a couple of laps as well. When you look elsewhere, the top 10's rounded out by Kyle Kirkwood, who had some good runs, had some rotten luck. I don't think... Did I mention his crash earlier in the season? I think I did with my earlier season reviews. I'm trying to remember which race that was now. Was that Iowa or was it Gateway? But when you look down towards the end of the field, the people who got somewhat unlucky, Rasmussen out before it even begins, just goes into 2 and up into the wall. It was great to see him win, but it was very much a 0 to 0 for him and an early bath to end the season. Then elsewhere, Malukas out on lap 82, Lundgaard out on lap 123, O'Ward on 126, and then Jacob Abel was the last retirement as well. And you do feel for drivers when they end, and especially because McLaren lost 2 in a couple of laps as well, who had been doing well this season. There were some drivers who had a really good, really deserved end to the season, and then some who just had rotten luck. And what it means is when you look at the championship standings at the end of all of it, Kirkwood, who had been second for a long while, was 80 points behind O'Ward at the end of it. Scott Dixon manages to get himself into third place in the standings, but it was dominated by Alex Palou. 711 points, 515 the next one back. He had the best part of 4 races in hand at the end of the season. He wrapped up with 2 to go and then grew the lead even more. He seems set to make history, to set records. Honda end up having a slightly bigger winning advantage when it comes to their win over Chevrolet. It's 222 points. But yeah, it was an interesting season to follow. I'm glad I got to sit down and watch it. I'm annoyed I didn't sit down and watch it more at the time, because I think knowing, like, I knew Pelot was winning the championship, but I didn't really know how the races individually were going to shake up. But knowing generally what the outcomes were going to look like was a bit of a shame. Especially because I think at least half the races I already knew the outcome for. But either way, it's been nice to sit down and do this, and I hope you've been enjoying me discovering and talking about these things as well. Thanks so much for watching and joining, folks. Thank you so much for your continued support for this channel. And yeah, if you have any comments, let them be known in the comment section down below. But until next time, from me, it's bye-bye for now.